So what happened was every time I would eat that bag of nuts, my stomach would just get super bloated. It'd be gassy. It'd have brain fog. I was like, wow, now I feel like crap. I'm on the side of the hill trying not to die, you know? And I was like, something's up with these nuts, especially the raw cashews, which I later found out were packed with anti-nutrients like phytic acid and lectins. I realized that the lectins are the ones that cause the gas, the bloating. And then you got the phytic acid, which actually binds to minerals and holds them in the nut, grain, or seed so that when it's time for that plant to grow, it could be related to a lot of vegans having like low testosterone. You know, that's a big thing now, even for younger guys.
Yeah.
So how do you keep your testosterone high? Well, you got to make sure that you have enough of the minerals like zinc, for instance, that is essential to producing your own testosterone. Well, there's a theory too that the reason that squirrels bury the acorns, because acorns have a ton of tannins, they're really difficult to digest. They bury them in the ground, let them sprout, and then they come back and eat them. Sometimes they forget them, and then we get oak trees out of it. But, you know, that's the good thing, and that's like nature's original sprouter. And the way I see that we differentiate ourselves is that we actually not only soak, most of the other companies will soak, and then they season immediately and dehydrate. And what I realized when I started looking for a manufacturer that could make our product and started talking to them about their process, I realized that they were just soaking and we were actually soaking, then allowing some time for germination.
But here we go.
Let's go.
What's up, buddy?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Rich Nuts.
One of my favorite guys.
Hey.
Guy who does custom jobs.
All the time. Rich wrote me into a custom job building or helping you build your own, like kind of similar to this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like cutting boards. We did, there's all that reclaimed timber at your house.
Yep.
That was fun.
I got that stuff from, I think it was like Habitat for Humanity. They sell it.
Yeah.
And there was a good deal on a whole lot. And it had like that vibey barn look.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. And then we glued it onto the concrete. Yeah. I don't know how it is now. I haven't been there in a while, but it was holding up pretty good last time I was there.
Yeah, I went and saw, because Corey lived there for a while.
Right.
And then I was there, and I was like, it looked amazing. Great design. They've added some cool elements to it. The floor was all redone. Looked really great.
Yeah.
So
it came out really nice.
Yeah, it got all finished, and then you moved.
That's right. I never really got to enjoy it. That was a little bit of a bummer, but you know.
Yeah.
The fun is also in the building, for me, in the creation, like seeing the vision of what I wanted and getting there with your help and a few other people's help.
Yeah.
And actually, you know, that's when I was into the whole earthship thing. So I started using some of those principles in that place. Yeah. I never got to finish all the things like with the passive ventilation. I was really excited about that, but I think they just kind of covered over those vents in the end.
Yeah. Well, that was the one thing when I first met you, was like, this guy's one of the earth. He's here to, you know, it's regenerative. You're always looking about sustainability. Yeah. And I was like, and he's a firefighter. You're a complete badass.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah. And then right around that same time, you were always, because we had all these fun events and you would bring these amazing nuts around.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's how, you know, I mean, I'll let you get into the story, but I just thought how unique, but how beautiful it was to be like something that you were so interested in, your nutrition, you know, as a firefighter, and making sure you know, getting some good food in you, and then passing these nuts around for friends and family. And then we're like, dude, you got something here. Yeah.
It's really funny that you were there for the beginning, because I tell the story often, you know, and I bring in the part, you know, if you want to know what my medicine is, I think that food is my medicine.
Food is your medicine.
Food is our medicine. It's all of our medicine, really. And it's our connection to nature, which is where the medicine is, I believe. And just exploring my curiosity and working on solving my own digestive issues around the raw nuts. And I can just get into the story. So, like,
yeah, get into it, man.
The time that Lane is talking about, I was a firefighter in Malibu, and I'd be out on those big fires, and, you know, I would eat a lot of raw cashews to fuel me. And I expected the fats and proteins to like sustain me, but I noticed that every time I would eat a whole bag of nuts, and generally I might eat like a 1 pound bag. I mean, you think you're working all day, you take a couple handfuls here, a couple handfuls there, and then you go. You don't really have time to sit down and eat anyway. So what happened was every time I would eat that bag of nuts, my stomach would just get super bloated. It'd be gassy. It'd have brain fog. I was like, wow, now I feel like crap. I'm on the side of the hill trying not to die, you know, and I was like, something's up with these nuts.
Yeah.
So that's when I started doing the research, because it was more pronounced when I would just eat like a whole bunch of nuts, especially the raw cashews, which I later found out were packed with anti-nutrients like phytic acid and lectins. And as I've been diving into this and doing the research, I realized that the lectins, they're the ones that cause the gas, the bloating. And then you got the phytic acid, which actually binds to minerals and holds them in the nut, grain, or seed so that when it's time for that plant to grow, it has some minerals to get started before it reaches into the earth where it can access those things. So it brings its own like starter pack with it.
Yeah.
But when you sprout them, the phytic acid dissolves and they become not only more digestible but more nutritious, because now the phytic acid that would normally bind to those minerals and actually extract them from your body, we're talking like important stuff like zinc, like calcium, magnesium, iron, all kinds of minerals, they start to get absorbed by the phytic acid. Then you become nutrient deficient. You start to have immune system depression. You can have hormone problems, and I don't know, could be related to a lot of vegans having like low testosterone.
Sure.
That's a big thing now, even for younger guys.
Yeah.
So how do you keep your testosterone high? Well, you got to make sure that you have enough of the minerals like zinc, for instance, that is essential to producing your own testosterone. So, unlocking this nutrition through sprouting, which is, again, a very natural process, a simple process that's been going on since before we were here, because the plants have been here longer.
Yeah.
And once you do that, not only does it make them more nutritious, but hey, they happen to taste better. It's a win-win situation. And that's one of my favorite things. Like, even the win-win game we played the other day. I love to have win-win situations.
Yeah. We got to do that again.
Yeah.
We'll do it after. We'll show it to the camera, the win-win. Because I won the other night.
That's right. You did.
Yeah.
Well, everyone wins. You just won big.
I won big.
Yeah.
Give me some more nuts.
Yeah.
But I feel like you were the first one really talking about sprouted nuts, because I didn't really see a lot of it in the Erewhons or Whole Foods at the time. But now you start seeing more and more companies pop up around it. So what was the inspiration behind that?
Well, it was just solving my own digestive issues. It's like, why is it every time I eat nuts, my stomach gets all bloated? And then that's when I did the research. I read Dr. Gundry's book, The Plant Paradox. That opened my eyes. I also read the Wise Traditions book by Sally Fallon. It talks about like all these traditional cultures and how they process foods through fermentation, through sprouting. And now you can also do pressure cooking, which helps with like beans and stuff.
Nice.
Because beans are loaded with lectins, and that's why they make people gassy. Like everyone knows, if I eat beans, I'm going to be gassy. Well, that's why.
Hey. That's why my brother's a contractor, and he's got the whole Mexican crew out there, and it's beans and tortillas.
Yeah.
At all lunchtime, they got their microwave and they're going. And man, I love those guys, but
it's stinky.
Yeah, it's stinky over there. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Well, I mean, and I just started with soaking them, which was the first part of the process. And like my whole thing is, hey, I'm going to figure something out. I'm going to fail. Maybe I fail 1,000 times, and then 1,001 time, that's when you figure it out. And that's like, I started experimenting with soaking them, and then I would eat them in the morning after I removed the water, and I noticed, I don't get the gas or bloating anymore. That's good. But, I didn't really love the texture because then they were all soggy.
Yeah.
And so I started experimenting with a dehydrator that my dad had in the garage. I was like, Dad, are you using that dehydrator? He's like, no, take it. And it was like an old 1980s one. And eventually it started to fall apart because it was made of plastic, and it was 30, 40 years old, whatever. And I got better dehydrators as I went. But what I realized was I didn't like the texture. And if you don't put them in the fridge, then they get moldy. So now it's cold and mushy. I'm like, I don't want to eat this. And it's not practical for me on the fire line because I can't take it in my pocket.
Right.
It will be a disaster. So that's when I started experimenting with sprouting. And that was the second aha moment, because that brought back the crunch and, made them super nutritious and also preserved them naturally. So I was like, okay, this is a totally natural process. I sprout them and then I dry them. They were a little bit bland. And so I started experimenting with sage and rosemary, which we had growing there in the yard in Topanga.
So you used your own sage, rosemary there?
Originally.
Amazing, yeah.
I didn't have that much, so I couldn't make a bunch. But in the beginning, I started using it until the plant was pretty much picked clean.
Nice.
And I was like, I could buy this stuff and buy it powdered already. So I started buying organic powdered sage and rosemary. And that was the original flavor, sage, the savory sage, we call it now. And it's still one of the one of the favorites.
That one and the maple pecan are my favorites.
Yeah, the maple pecan is like next level.
Woo!
I love that in the morning on yogurt with some berries.
Yeah.
Or if you eat ice cream, or sometimes I do the coconut ice cream.
Yeah.
You throw that on chocolate ice cream, it's like next level.
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking for an ice cream partner to put those sprouted nuts in.
Okay.
So if anyone out there hears this,
Anybody?
you have an ice cream company and you want the best nuts ever in there,
Yeah.
let's talk.
Try Rich's nuts.
Yeah, they're the best.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I was, did I send you the video I saw? This was like 10 years ago. I did like a little fun parody video. Remember we were doing like these really weird viral type videos
With the squirrel?
with the squirrel.
Yeah.
I was living in West Hollywood at that time, and there's squirrels that were literally like pets.
Yeah.
And, you could just go down and feed them, and that one took one of the rich nuts out of my hand.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a theory too that the reason that squirrels bury the acorns, because acorns have a ton of tannins, they're really difficult to digest. They bury them in the ground, let them sprout, and then they come back and eat them. Sometimes they forget them, and then we get oak trees out of it. But that's the good thing, and that's like nature's original sprouter.
Wow, go squirrels.
That's
Although
right.
I hate these ground squirrels in my place over here.
They tear
All over
everything
the place.
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're a mess.
They're a mess. Try covering the holes. But hey, if you're sprouting some nuts, okay, I'll let you go.
Yeah. You remember I used to carry them in the jar?
Yeah.
I would have like a mason jar, and I would bring them around. Hey guys, you want to try these nuts I made? And everyone would be like, nuts you made? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'd go through the whole thing, and then, okay, I'll try them. And they'd go, wow, these are really good. You got more? You got more?
Yeah.
Every time, I would say after like 6 months, anytime I went to a party, everyone would be like, hey, you bring nuts?
Yeah,
Did you
where's
bring
your nuts, Rich? Yeah.
Where are those nuts?
So is
And-
that the point where you're like, okay, I think maybe I have something here?
Well, yeah, I did an audit on my finances, and I was
Yep.
like, man, I spent like $1,000 on nuts
Yep.
this month, and I know I didn't eat them all. I ate a lot of them, but I've been just giving them away to everyone. And that's when I was like, hey guys, I love you, but you're gonna have to start paying me.
Yeah.
And that's when it first started as a business. Then it was like all of our friends and community, and then it expanded into the guys at the fire department, and from there, everyone was like, oh, yeah, you should start a business. You're onto something. These are amazing. And so I was like, really? Should I? I don't know. And that's when I was like, well, why don't we try going into the farmers markets and see if there's an actual market? Will strangers buy these? And that was actually a great time of discovery for me, because I was able to really learn like how to communicate what I was doing, because at first I was like, oh, I'm sprouting them. Well, what's that? And then I had to like learn about how to say it in the most succinct way where I can get it across to people in a very short, manner, so I don't drone on and on.
You got 10 seconds. Ready, go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even there, I learned like, that's when I started calling them the best nuts ever, because people would be walking by at the farmer's market, and in California farmer's market, there's people handing out samples of everything, trying to get you to buy their stuff. And I know I'm the same way. People are like trying to give me all this stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm good. And I would notice, hey, you want some nuts? And people would look at me and they'd be like, because we've all had some nuts and we know what they're like.
Yeah.
But I would say, you want the best nuts ever? And then, especially men, they would be like, best
Good.
nuts ever?
Yeah.
I'll be the judge of that. And, they'd walk over kind of proud-chested a little bit. And then as they came over, I would recommend we do a full flight. We'll taste each one and we'll go through it. And they're like, that sounds good. And then I would say, hey, do you know what sprouting is? And they'd be like, no, what's that? I've never heard of it. And then I could give them my spiel as I sampled each one.
Yeah.
Usually about halfway through, they'd be like, wait a minute, how much are these? They're like ready to buy.
Yeah.
So I noticed that little bit of education combined with the actual flavor and taste. And I think the most important part is how it changes the texture and the crunch. That's what everyone always says, is like, these are so crunchy and they kind of melt in your mouth like butter chips, as opposed to being waxy, mealy, even bitter, like walnuts or pecans can be bitter when they're raw.
Yep.
And cashews aren't really bitter, but they're kind of like mealy and a little bit waxy. And this texture change is like where they just kind of snap and then kind of melt. And that's one of the things that people always come back to. And I loved it myself, so it makes sense that everyone else would.
Absolutely. Yeah, if I'm on an airplane, I got to go on one tomorrow.
Yeah.
Here's your stupid snack pack peanuts.
Yeah.
They're going to destroy your gut. I'm
Yeah.
like, I got to pack my own. I got to pack my own. I think I have some rich nuts here, so I'm going to bring some of those.
Yeah. They're awesome for flights.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're definitely looking to get in some airlines.
That would be great. Yeah. So this was from the farmer's market now, and then you guys are getting into stores right now. And then I've seen this whole evolution now I mean, I heard about what happened with your
Manufacturing.
manufacturing. It's like, wow, you've been through the ringer too.
Yeah.
Yes, but how did you get from, okay, we're at farmer's market, then you started, okay, people are starting to respond and buy this.
Yep.
And then what happened?
Well, from there, we had an opportunity to get into Erewhon, which for people who don't live in LA, that's like the fanciest market in LA.
It's the woo-woo and the fanciest, greatest, healthiest food that you can get.
It makes Amazon look cheap, really, as we know. But they started getting interested, and so we transitioned from the cottage food industry license, which is where you can make it at home, and you have to sell it directly to people. You can't sell online or anything when you're using that home kitchen license.
Yep.
So we moved into a shared kitchen in LA. We had a little tiny space, maybe like 150 square feet originally. And we just bought a bunch of those small dehydrators, like, I don't know, they're about 16 by 16 cubes. I think we had 9 of them for a while. And then we would just, make them by hand in a bowl and put them in there. So there wasn't really a process for this that I knew of. So I just did a lot of trial and error, testing every single part of the process. Not only that, the ingredients, so there was a lot to like figure out. And then as we began to industrialize that, like by the time we got to Alabama, where the manufacturing facility was, we had prepared to make them in large quantities, using massive industrial machines, but still doing the same process, like staying true to the sprouting, the germinating, which is a really important thing that I learned that we were doing that other companies weren't. Because as time started going on, like you said, other people started discovering it, and a couple other brands started coming out right around the same time. And the way I see that we differentiate ourselves is that we actually not only soak, most of the other companies will soak and then they season immediately and dehydrate. And what I realized when I started looking for a manufacturer that could make our product and started talking to them about their process, I realized that they were just soaking and we were actually soaking, then allowing some time for germination. And I would get this feedback all the time at like the Expo West, which is the big natural products expo.
Yeah.
People would come up to me and they're like, hey, how come yours tastes so much better than these other guys? They say they're sprouted, but something's different about yours. And I didn't know at the time because I didn't have any insight into what the other manufacturers were doing until we started looking for a co-packer. So yeah, we started in that tiny space. And we had little tiny machines, and I had to like have an electrician modify them and all this stuff because they had timers on them that weren't long enough, and we just wanted an on-off switch because we were doing a little bit longer dehydration, and started playing with the temperature, and we got that stuff down. And then we moved into a larger machine that's about the size of a smart car, into a larger space in another shared kitchen facility in South Central. But it was crazy expensive. I mean, we had a 400 square foot space. And then if you wanted space in the cooler, that's extra. You want some storage in the warehouse, that's each pallet space they charge you. Oh, you want to park here so your car doesn't get broken into on the street or crashed into.
Yeah.
So it ended up being about $6,000 for a 400 square feet.
Come on.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
And we're like, we're not going to be able to make any money like this,
Right.
And so that's when we started looking. Usually that's when brands are starting to grow and scale. How do you scale this? Usually people go into a co-packer because you don't necessarily have the capital available to you to purchase like these industrial sprouting machines in a large facility. You can spend millions of dollars on that, packaging, scales, metal detectors. You start getting into all this food safety stuff, organic certifications. So that's when we started looking for the co-packer, and we were having a hard time finding someone that would do it. And we found that the place in Alabama, they had a 50,000 square foot facility. They were doing similar products, and they had been sprouting for a long time, but grains and flours and stuff like that. They had never done anything seasoned or ready to eat. So that's when we went there, and they were like, well, we have this 2,000 square foot space within our facility that you can rent. So we got like 5 times the space for a third of the cost.
Amazing.
And that made things easier to make the business actually work, from a margin perspective.
Yeah.
The first part was really about testing the market and seeing like, is there a market? Will people buy? Can we sell these online? We started opening up all that stuff. And there was a time we were doubling our revenue year over year, which was amazing. And we were
Woo!
scaling up. We had an opportunity to possibly buy that facility. They were like a struggling business, they were definitely distressed.
Yeah.
And we came in and tried to save the day, and the money never actually materialized. And so they went out of business, and we had to scramble out of there and find a place to make our products.
Wow.
So,
And is that when you moved to a different manufacturer where you bought equipment and that didn't work, or something happened there? I was reading, I'm following your stories on Instagram.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we were at that facility, actually, we were planning to scale up. We had an opportunity to go into Sprouts, which is, a national chain.
Nice.
Which was a huge opportunity for us. So we had ordered a packaging machine that was supposed to be able to pack. The thing was, we were like hand packaging with these scales, and you have to like get it in there and do it. It takes, time, much more time than one of these machines. So we bought this machine for like $100,000. It never actually worked. They came out and tried to get it to work 3-4 times, and it still didn't work. And then basically, they didn't want to return or refund the money. So it got into this whole thing. We end up holding off on the Sprouts contract because we didn't want to say we could take it and then not fulfill,
Right.
which they appreciated, but that ended up losing the revenue from Sprouts that was going to come in that would have helped service the loan that we were supposed to get the money to buy the business. And so that was kind of like the beginning of the deal not going through.
Right.
And it was tough because we had a lot of plans in place, and we put a lot of effort. We moved to Alabama for like 2 years.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that just ended basically May of last year. And so that's when we had to bounce out and find a co-packer.
Yeah.
Luckily at that time, some more co-packers had come online and were starting to do sprouted nuts, and, they had the equipment and the facility. So then it was really just about getting them to do our process and use our ingredients and, still keep the quality high because, my whole goal was literally to make the best nuts ever.
Yeah.
And I don't want to like compromise on stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be the best nuts ever.
Hey,
You
if
gotta
I'm going to do
speak
it,
your word. Yeah, it's happening. Yeah.
my name's on the bag, literally. So like, I really care about the quality, and I was always obsessed by that. I'm still to this day obsessed about it. But, so then we went into a co-packer, and it's funny too, because, being a fireman, people are like, wow, that must've been the hardest job ever, and it's definitely a hard job, physically, mentally, sometimes emotionally. It has its incredible challenges, but then it's also has like, as a job or a profession, it has like a whole system in place. Like if you want to promote, this is how you do it. This is what you do.
Yeah.
When you're an entrepreneur and you're creating a disruptive product, there's no playbook. You
Right.
have to just, it's like like they talk about building a plane when you're flying it. Like
Yeah.
that's how it's been. Developing the process and industrializing the process and making it scalable. That was a lot of, I was spending, 70% of my time on that. So that was also not great for business and sales because I spent all my time, managing manufacturing and figuring out the constant and never-ending challenges around that. And that's been part of the shift. So now we have a co-packer, and they make the product to our specs. But the first co-packer we used, they made a massive mistake. We got a phone call the day before Thanksgiving last year. Hey, we made a mistake. We accidentally put non-organic maple syrup on your organic certified product. So, yeah, that was a tough call to get the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And that ended up leading to like a QA hold, quality assurance hold. And they had to report it to this organic certifying agency and then come up with a plan to mitigate it because you can't sell stuff that's not technically organic because of the maple syrup.
Yeah.
Even though all maple syrup is wild harvested and there's basically no pesticides used on it because it's harvested from a wild forest. But since they don't have like their organic certification, you can't call it organic, and therefore those products were not allowed to be labeled as organic.
Oh man.
So we had to label them made with organic ingredients because 98 to 92%, depending on which of the 3 products were affected, was or certified organic.
Yeah.
And the maple syrup was regenerative harvest. So it's like, or wild harvested.
Yeah.
So, that was another challenge. And that caused some major issues because we were already super low on product. And then we had a 3-month hold on our product. So now we basically ran out of product. And it's really hard when you're running a product company to
Yeah.
sell product if
Where's
you
my
have
nuts? I just ordered them. Yeah.
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 And so we had to deal with customers. And, I've talked to a few of them even. They're like, you know what? We stuck with you through the hard times because we really love what you're doing and it's something different. So
Yeah.
we do have a lot of customer loyalty.
Right.
Especially in these really hard times, like navigating that stuff, and running out of cash because you have nothing to sell, but you still have your business expenses. But it really forced us into a better place, which is where we are now. So now we have a scalable manufacturer. We have a third-party logistics company. We basically contracted out those two parts, and now we're focusing more on sales and marketing.
Great.
We pivoted out, and we're still in retail in a lot of places, but we took our focus off of that because retail is so expensive. You have a distributor and then you have the retailer. And so they both take a big portion of, the sales price.
Sure.
And then you end up with a little tiny sliver and you're like hustling and doing all these things. They have their business model too, but
Yeah.
direct to consumer, it just seems like it's such a better margin and a better model for us. And then we can develop a relationship with the customers who know and care what we're doing instead of trying to convince some 30-year buyer at, a supermarket chain that knows everything already.
Right.
And they're like, we don't know anything about sprouted nuts. You have to try to get them on board with it. And are people going to buy it? So I think the better model really is to go big on direct to consumer, get a big following, then all of a sudden Target, Whole Foods, they start coming to you. Hey, we want to get you in.
Yeah.
And it's a completely different conversation because they're now recruiting you instead of you chasing them.
And then you can say, yeah, we can do that, but my percentage just went up.
Yeah, or we're going to go direct with you and skip the distributor because they're just really difficult to work with.
Yeah, I can imagine. So is Sprout still on the table for you guys because that was such a close deal for you?
It could be. We would have to rekindle the relationship and start it again. But like I said, we kind of pulled back from retail at this point and just started focusing more on direct to consumer because bottom line is I'd rather give the customers a better price and then we end up making more money. So that way we, it's better for both. It's a win-win.
Yeah.
And, we don't necessarily need the supermarkets. I think when we get to a certain, revenue stream, then it will become more valuable because you got to hire people to deal with the distributors and to manage all the sales opportunities because it becomes a lot and there's so much paperwork involved in it.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it at this point.
No.
So we want to narrowly focus direct to consumer. We even got off Amazon because it's kind of a pain in the butt to work with from our side, from a brand perspective. So we just refocused all our energy. We reduced our team. We cut all of our costs. And now we're super lean so we can scale this efficiently and become profitable. And these are all the things I learned through like being in business the past 7-8 years.
Just entrepreneur.
Oh man, it's
24/7.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying. It's so much harder than being a fireman because in some ways, right? Like not physically, obviously, but you have to figure out all this stuff, and
but you could clock in, clock out as fireman.
Yeah, my days off, I wasn't worried about like the production run and are the bags going to get there in time or are they malfunction? Do they have holes in them? We've had that happen. I mean, there's so many complications that can happen and do happen.
Right. And if you're not right on top of them every single moment, it's like, oh, hey, the bags are printed weird.
Yeah.
You still want them?
Yeah. And even if you are on top of them, manufacturers make mistakes. Your suppliers run out of stuff. COVID happened. It was like challenge. It's been challenge after challenge. But from my understanding, that's what being an entrepreneur is. It's just like
but it sounds like you guys are in a really good spot right now too to bring it. I mean, keep it small, keep it tight. I'm loving the videos that you guys are doing now online, and capturing a good audience, and people like that. And they're like, I think one of the unique things about you too is. I went to LIB with you. You remember we were slinging some nuts over there.
Yep.
You're all kilted up. You got your kilt on, your holsters. You got the rich nuts. What was that little 3-wheeler?
The kiosk.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And you're just a unique guy, and people want to, like, I think anybody could buy nuts from anybody, but they're like, yeah, but Rich, he's a cool guy. He's really fun to hang out with. He's got great stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's something to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People want to buy from people they like instead of a big conglomerate or something,
Right.
nothing to say bad about the big conglomerates, but it's a faceless entity, most of the time. And people really connect with my story about, how'd you get in? They're like, you're a fireman and now you're selling nuts. Tell me this, how did that
How
happen?
did that work? Yeah.
Because it doesn't make any sense until I actually tell a story and they're like, oh yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, the lightning in a bottle stuff was really fun. Creating the games, I love creating games and gamifying it, and just it's an opportunity for me to be creative. And that was one of the things too about like even creating these things and going out into the market with it. It was like, okay, this is kind of a creative endeavor for me. I created these things out of nowhere, and now are people going to buy it? And then does that mean that they like me? Am I lovable? All these questions start coming up.
Sure.
So I've really found being an entrepreneur as like a crucible for self-development, right? I've had to grow and adapt and change and learn all these things that I had no idea about. I mean, as a fireman, I didn't know what a spreadsheet was. Why would I care? I would never use a spreadsheet for what? I knew everything about the tools that were important to me, and now I had to start learning about food safety and getting certified in food safety and what does it mean to get an organic certification and all these things. So it was a whole layer of learning that was required, and fast forward, you got to just learn it now.
Right. And then we were coming in, we were talking about, using AI to help create, the brand or some of the videos, or, even working with, how do I keep this customer, that little QR code that I scanned?
Yeah.
That's got to be amazing, but it's also, you're having to teach yourself a whole new ball game here.
Yeah. There's a lot of back end tech parts to building the website and to even building the games like the one we played. How does that all work, and how does it become a win-win situation for the customer and for us? And so I really had no training in that. And that's one of the things I do use AI for, is like, hey, I want to build a landing page. How do I build a landing page? I wanted to do this, and I wanted to use like let's say Alex Hormozy style of building a landing page, and so then the cool thing is you can just talk to the AI and then it helps you create that stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes it comes up with great ideas and sometimes they're not so good. So you obviously have to keep an eye on it. Like even with the Flip You For Real game, it was like, oh, and then you should, if you really want to make a kicker, make it double or nothing. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't want them winning nothing, because then it doesn't help me and it doesn't help them.
Right.
So you have to, be mindful of it.
Yeah. Is that Claude you were using that one for?
I don't know if it was Chat or Claude on that one. I use both, and I've been using Perplexity too. Perplexity is really good for like research stuff.
Yeah.
And more complex things I found. So for instance, we did a bunch of testing, and I wanted to see like what was happening with sprouting and the nutrient values, and after the dehydration, like what's the nutrients then, and kind of do a comparison across the board. And so I had a conversation. We had it tested at Utah State University, and there was a professor there that ran the tests, and then they produced basically three different reports, and they were ranging from like 35 to 65 pages, and they're very dense, like scientific information about like all these phytonutrients that I really had no idea about and what they were good for. And, I had a bunch of email back and forth with him. And then we had like a 1 hour and a half conversation on Zoom where he kind of gave me the breakdown on what was going on. But even after all that, I was like, whoa, okay, this is a lot of information. And what can I say using these studies that will, tell people about the product and why it's better and all this stuff. And it was so complex. So I basically loaded all that information, the Zoom call transcript, the, 365-page or 35-page reports, and all of our emails into Perplexity. And I just asked it, like, what can I use marketable? What are the insights here? And it just broke down and gave me this massive report. And, it was great. I was like, oh, yes, that makes sense. And it put a lot of things together that I hadn't, and made it like understandable, really,
Right.
You didn't need a PhD to understand what
Talk to me like a fifth grader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
actually, a lot of fifth graders are super smart. So let's talk to me like a little baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing was too, then when I started to develop a relationship with Dave Asprey, who's now come on as an investor and advisor, which is
great,
amazing. So we're going to hopefully start getting some push for him. That as a new thing for us. But he was like, well, what kind of information do you have about the oxalates? And he was asking me all the scientific data. And I go, oh, I have this report that I created on Perplexity analyzing all the data. He's like, send that to me. It'd be great. And after he got that, and we had some more personal moments at Burning Man, which I probably shouldn't go on to, but
Right.
Where we connected.
Yeah.
Where we connected like on a personal level, and then next you know he was like, "Oh yeah, Rich, I want to work with you," and then it just kind of started evolving.
Is that how you guys met? Was that Burning Man?
Originally, yes, I met him at Burning Man, and then I met him at Metal, the men's group. I think I've talked to you about that. And I met him once or twice, and like I knew who he was. Obviously, he's, you know, I'm a biohacker. He's started the whole movement, so I've been reading his books and stuff for years. But then, you know, at Burning Man, that's when we had the personal connection. That's when he realized who I was and got to know me, and then, you know, that's what created the relationship, because he's a person that gets a lot of attention. And people are always after him. Hey, partner with me on my brand. You know, everyone's trying to get him to do that. And I didn't really push it. I mean, I talked to him about it, but he didn't seem that interested. He was kind of like aloof about it a little bit. But after that personal connection at Burning Man, then he was like, yeah, Rich, you know, he saved me at Burning Man. And he was talking to Samantha at Eudaimonia, which is another big biohacking conference and longevity thing. And after that, he was like, let's start working together. I want to figure out a way. And that's what started the whole conversation.
Did his bike blow up, or what happened? Saved him at Burning Man.
I don't know how much I can say about it, but let's just put it this way.
PG version.
Yeah, he was having a wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah.
And I happened to have a branded Rich Nuts gift in the bag. We make these amazing Rich Nuts boxer briefs. They're bamboo.
Perfect.
They're great. I had those. I gifted it to him, and it saved his day. And, you know, he remembered me from then. And that was it.
Rich Nuts boxers briefs.
Yeah.
Nice.
Have you seen those yet?
No, but that makes so much sense.
I got to get you a pair.
Yeah.
So they're bamboo.
Yeah.
And
breathable.
Yep. They're very comfortable. It's the same company that I've been wearing for like, I don't know, 15 years or something. I love them. And I reached out to them and said, hey, can we do some branded ones? And they're like, yeah, we can do that for you. So on the back, they say Rich Nuts, and on the front, they say, ask me about my nuts. They're really fun.
I love it.
Yeah.
There's so much that can be done with that, with the Rich Nuts. I saw you guys did a video. It was, you know, Samantha basically was talking about, you know, have you tried, you know, Rich's Nuts? You were in a cold plunge at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the inspiration behind that one?
So it was really funny. So for years, and including at all the farmers markets and live events I did, I would get a ton of jokes. You know, it's a nut joke galore.
Yeah.
It's inviting it, right? Literally thousands of jokes at farmers markets and stuff like that.
At the end of the day, we just want to laugh about nuts.
Yeah. Let's make jokes. Okay. Hey. And I was like kind of resistant to it in the beginning. I was really just playing the high road and talking about the nutrition and the taste and all the like product factors. And then people would make the jokes and I'd be like, oh yeah, that's funny. I've never heard that one before.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
But eventually we're like, you know what? Everyone keeps making jokes about it. We might as well just engage. And so we started to do that. And this video that we made, it's where Samantha puts me through the sprouting process.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's made in jest. And there's a lot of hilarious lines in it. It was a lot of fun to make. And I don't say anything in the video, which is great.
Yeah.
I just go through the sprouting process.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun. You can find it on our Instagram too.
Great.
It's pinned at the top, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Rich.nuts.
Rich.nuts.
Yeah.
Yep. Try his nuts.
Yeah.
I think I remember my opening line is the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I reach for Rich's nuts.
Yeah.
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 Even squirrels like Rich's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do, actually. They
really
do. They
yeah.
enjoy it.
But,
they're kind of expensive nuts to give to squirrels, but you know.
Yeah. It's each your own, you know, do what you want.
Yeah.
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 And did you know, how did you come up with the name? Were you like, I could call these anything I want, but I guess they're just going to be my branded nuts.
Yeah. In the beginning, I actually wanted to call them D's nuts.
Ah, that's not bad.
I thought that would be funny.
Yeah.
D's nuts. I mean, that was a whole Snoop Dogg thing that I listened to when I was in high school. It's a big joke around it. But, you know, Samantha, who's the CEO, my wife, my partner in the business, she was like, you know what, that's cool and it's funny, but it kind of pigeonholes your product into maybe a more stoner vibe. And maybe they're not going to be the ones buying our nuts. Maybe it's going to be more affluent people that don't necessarily relate to that joke. So And I really didn't want it to be about me. And everyone's like, no, it has to be about you. Like
Yeah.
your story, the whole thing. So
Absolutely.
we're going to call it Rich Nuts. How's that sound? And I was like, yeah, you know what? Because we're rich in flavor, we're rich in nutrition, and we're made by a guy named Rich. So
Yeah.
it's a triple entendre.
Yeah. So you got to thank your parents right now for giving you the name of Rich.
Yeah. Exactly.
Richard. Yeah, it's better than Richard's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rich Nuts.
And technically, it's not Rich's nuts. Everyone calls it that.
Yeah.
It's Rich Nuts. But, you know, it's close enough.
Yeah. You do feel a different class as soon as you eat them. You're like, oh, I'm getting wealthy. I'm rich. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Healthy. I feel better. Can
Yeah.
jump faster or jump higher, run faster. Yeah. It's the whole
$6
thing.
million man.
Hey.
Yeah. And it was funny, too, because when we first, like, well, we need to launch some social media and stuff. And so we looked for, I think it was Rich Period Nuts on Facebook. And there was already someone that had it. And it was like all these crazy wealthy people all over the world, like partying here.
Yeah.
We're in south of France and we're in Ibiza. And
Whee!
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang it, that one's taken. So I think on Facebook we're Rich DOT Nuts, Rich.nuts.
Okay.
Or the Instagram one is Rich
Yeah.
Period Nuts, you know, the
Yeah.
period symbol. But yeah, I mean, it's just been such a challenging, but also, like I said, like growth provoking process, you know.
Yeah.
I started getting more comfortable like with talking about it and
Yeah.
what I'm doing and why it's important. And you know, the one piece we have yet to touch on is about regenerative agriculture. So the North Star for me is that we would become completely regenerative certified.
Nice.
Because I started doing a bunch of research with the Kiss the Ground guys, and they were putting out a lot of information in the beginning. And I read this incredible white paper. I can, you know, give you a link to the PDF, and
Sure.
you can share it.
Yeah.
But basically, in that paper, they discover, well, they just talk about it in the white paper, how if the entire world shifted to regenerative within 5 years, we could avert the carbon crisis without any cuts to emissions. When I read that, I was like, that was really the first hopeful thing I had heard in a long time,
Right.
around the environment and around the earth. I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then I started doing, you know, in there they talk about how the mycorrhizal fungi and the bacteria, the beneficial bacteria, bring all the nutrition to the plants so that they can grow stronger, more nutritious. Actually, it makes 30% more nutritious food on average.
Nice.
And it also sequesters 5 to 7 times more carbon per square acre, regenerative. So basically what happens is the roots exude carbohydrates.
Yep.
There's carbon in that, and it feeds the fungi, the mycorrhizal fungi, and the bacteria. And it does that in exchange for the minerals and nutrients that the mycorrhizal fungi bring to the roots. So there's this synergistic exchange. And it doesn't really happen in conventional agriculture because we're dumping all these pesticides
Right.
on there, and it just kills everything in the earth. Now you have to add these, and that's the thing, like with this Iran thing that happened, you know, petroleum became a big thing. And they're like, well, it's also the fertilizers for everyone's food because they're petroleum based.
Right.
So, you know, it's really like a circle because the carbon needs to go back in the ground and the plants are the key to getting it there. You know, there's all these technological dreams that may happen, may not, but we already have plants that do it. So why not support that?
Yeah. Instead of going, you know, there's so many farmers and, you know, people that are starting these companies, like, it's just, you know, bottom dollar. Okay, what can I spray on this that's going to make them grow faster? I'm not really caring about what happens in 5 to 10 years from now.
Yeah.
So it's good that you're forward thinking about that. It's, you know, conscious enterprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. And if there's anyone that listens to this podcast or hears this, if you're interested in coming on board as an investor, we can commit to becoming completely regenerative if we get the right deal in place.
Right.
We can make that part of our commitment because it's expensive to do all these things. You know, you have to get another certification and then you have to like find all those ingredients and then they have to be certified. So it's like a whole process. You know, eventually I want our bags to be compostable.
Nice.
I wish we could have done that years ago. The problem is the technology is not quite there, but compostable bags green up our production as much as possible. I think eventually we could become carbon neutral. That would be awesome. And potentially even become a carbon sink. Maybe it's not a lot, like per bag, you can sequester 5 grams of carbon. That's way better than producing whatever it is it costs in carbon to make it, you know?
Right.
So it's important to like have whole systems thinking around this stuff.
Yeah. I guess I didn't think about that. Yeah, the bags, because everybody's selling bags and it's got that mylar, little plastic feel to it. So,
Yeah.
can we go back to the jars, that we
Yeah.
did way back in the day?
Yeah.
That doesn't really help for shipping. Brings cost up, and it's really not affordable. But someone has to spearhead all of this, and you're the guy for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The packaging thing is its whole thing. But I will tell you that our packaging is made from recycled plastic. So that's one step in the right direction. There are some promising materials that are plant-based, like cassava and hemp. But the problem is the vapor barrier. And the thing with sprouted nuts, for instance, okay, like a raw nut, it has its own chemical shield. So it's protected. It can sit for a long time and not have any issues with going stale. They can go rancid if they have high fat content, which a lot of the nuts do. But once you sprout them, you basically remove that shield. So now they're going to go stale faster. So once you open the package, that's why we have the resealable zipper so that you can close it back up if you don't eat them all. If you have the willpower to not eat them all in one sitting.
I dare you to get the maple pecans and see if you can just have one. It's not going to happen.
I know. I really love the go nuts and berries too. That one's really good for like when I go hiking or hunting or doing outdoor stuff. I love that one because it has the antioxidant rich berries.
Yeah.
So I'm always thinking of like, what can I put in here that's going to be good for me, that's going to give me nutritional value. I want my nutrition to give me the most density as far as minerals and phytonutrients that it possibly can.
Yeah.
So sprouting them is part of it. But then what else can I add in here? That's why we have blueberries and goji berries, which are two of the highest antioxidant berries.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the packaging, what we do now is we flush them with nitrogen. So it's an inert gas that basically displaces the oxygen inside the bag so that they can last longer.
Got it.
Yeah.
I mean, look at you. This is 10 years in the making.
Yeah.
The rich nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, you've come a long ways.
These are all the things I learned. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
In the beginning, if you remember, I had the paper bags that would roll up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. It had, it's like almost a stamped rich nuts on there.
It was a stamp. It was a rubber stamp.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And that was great too.
That was great. They'd go stale fast. That was the problem.
Yeah.
The shelf life in those was nothing. The problem with jars too, because I did talk about this with some other companies. I don't know if you're familiar with the brand In Lakesh.
No.
It's like a fancy nut. They do Sachinichi, some other ones. They stopped using glass. They were using it for a long time. They just said like the carbon footprint is even larger, and they break often, and it was just they had so many problems with it. They switched to aluminum. I don't know that that's a better solution. It probably has some sort of plastic lining. There's some potential for paper, which is recyclable, but then it would still have to have some sort of coating inside that makes it airtight.
Right.
And there are some companies working on natural airtight barriers because the problem is like milk cartons, right? It's made from paper, but then it has a plasticky lining inside, and that makes it so you can't recycle it. So how can you make a paper product that's airtight and that is also, compostable?
Right.
And there are some companies working on solutions like that, which I'm excited about. We might switch to paper cans if that becomes a reality,
Yeah, that would be great. The whole recycling thing is another shit show, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like I even look out here in LA where, we've got the blue containers for the recyclables and, everything just goes together.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I hope they can figure that out one of these days.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's at the forefront. There are people really trying to make those compostable packages. But, most of the time I dove into it several times and they're like, we still haven't got the vapor bear any moment now. And I'm like, okay, we're waiting over here.
Yeah. We're 3 years away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously the cost will be higher, at least in the beginning when the technology first comes out. But like everything, as it scales, the price should come down. So that's the hope.
All right. So someone's going to be watching this and maybe potentially investor. How much are you looking for to like get to that next level with?
Yeah. $1 million would be excellent right now, especially the way we are set up now to scale, profitably.
Yeah.
So all that money would go into, certain things that we need to do, like become regenerative certified. Then we can start to tell that story. We would also use a lot of it for inventory and marketing, and and then we could be off to the races.
I mean, that's an amazing story to be a regenerative nuts. And like, what does that mean? How's that going to work?
Yeah.
Yeah. But then you become the spearhead for all the other companies to start following suit. Then you're the big, you're the big chief in the building. People are like, oh yeah, we got to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be the leader. And, there's a lot of energy around regenerative now with the Kiss the Ground movies coming out.
Yep.
I think they just released the new one, Groundswell. They had the original movie, the book. I haven't seen Groundswell yet, but I did see the other ones. And then there's also The Biggest Little Farm. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And what did that take? 7 years for the earth to finally come back and start working for itself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see, that's how they used, in that story, they talk about how plants and animals work together to create an ecosystem.
Yeah.
And that's more like natural, For me, right now, the best available food is wild foraged food. That's coming from a wild place. I'm not talking about something growing like on the side of the freeway or something, because there's obviously pollution involved in that. But something out in the forest, like maple syrup, you can wild harvest that. I like to find as much wild forage food as possible, because if that plant is growing there, it means it's the exact right conditions for it.
Right.
No one's watering it or maintaining it.
Yeah.
It's just growing there because it's supposed to grow there.
Yeah. And then you're a hunter as well.
I am a hunter as well.
Yeah. So, getting your deer.
Yeah.
That was the other thing. It's like you're such a, I don't know, the guy you want on the desert island.
Yeah.
Not a desert island. Let's make it an earthy island.
Yeah.
Any island. But it's like when shit goes down, you got the tools. You can do this.
Yeah.
Forage through the forest, find your food, hunt for your food.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another cool thing. Speaking of which, I have jerky coming tonight. I hope it's here.
Okay.
I just heard the dog bark. So
Yeah.
I shot my first deer, last year, and now it's made it all into jerky. So
The whole thing?
whole thing, not the whole thing. I got some steaks out of it too.
Okay.
But I went with my brother-in-law
Yeah.
and went hunting back in Wisconsin. So hopefully before you leave, we can try some of my jerky.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Did you had someone make it for you?
Yeah, he does it all.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he's a former detective back in Wisconsin, and then he used to was a guide in Colorado, so he would take people. They would hire him to go hunt elk.
Yeah.
And then he would be the Sherpa and planning their food, pack them all out, got everything ready. So the people that were super wealthy didn't quite even know how to shoot a gun. They're like, okay, we do some target practice first, and then he would aim the gun for them. Okay, come on.
All you have to do is pull
just
the trigger.
pull the trigger. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But,
great.
yeah, so he was talking about going back to that, and he does guided tours in Africa. He's been doing that, Colorado, Montana, and obviously Wisconsin.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing for me, okay, there's the killing of the animal, which is a sad moment for me. I'm not the trophy hunter guy.
Right.
I'm just hunting to feed myself and my friends and my family. I mean, you've had elk stew at the house.
It's amazing.
Many times.
Yep.
For me, I love elk. It tastes amazing. And what I've learned through hunting elk is it's a connection to nature for me. So most people think steak comes from the store, but it actually comes from an animal that was raised somewhere in some way, and most of it in a not very humane way.
Right.
So I'd rather have an animal that had its natural free life, and hopefully you have one clean, quick shot and it's over, and then you have nutritious food for your family for the whole year or more, depending on how much you eat. And it just feels so much more nutritious than the best grass-fed steak that you pay a ton of money for.
Right.
Now, obviously, we know hunting is not a poor man's sport. There's a lot of gear.
Yep.
The tags are expensive, especially if you're coming in from out of state.
Yep.
Maybe you'll come hunt elk with me this year. I think Latif's going to come too. So
no way.
I'm putting together a crew.
Nice.
We got 8 spots, and I think about 4 or 5 of them are full. So maybe you'll join.
Ew.
Yeah.
I got a free one.
Oh.
Yeah, that's another option.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the thing. You pay free hunt. You pay $5,000.
Yeah.
To go maybe get a deer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an expensive sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you go to the outfitter. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. But there's my sister-in-law's, how's that? My sister-in-law's brother-in-law.
Okay.
So we're all kind of family.
Yeah.
He got, what does he have? 300 acres out in Colorado right now.
Okay.
And so we're out there this winter, and we brought some night vision goggles out, and they got all the gear. He's like, look at that up on the hill. Some elk just sitting up there.
Yeah.
And they do elk hunting over there randomly. So I'm trying to pigeon them to allow us to go hunt over there. That'd be
Yeah.
pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you a call. Hey,
Yeah. When are you doing
come
it?
on out.
November?
Yeah.
Let's go.
That would be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Third rifle season, the 7th through the 15th this year, I think.
Look at this guy.
I'm getting ready.
Yeah. How do you manage all that? Because you got Burning Man, you're doing LIB, you've got the hunting. I know you're actually really dedicated, first of all, to your practice. You know, you super fit, take care of yourself, and then you've got all these, you know, I would say your tentacles out, and you still manage to go have fun and run a business.
Yeah, it's a lot, definitely to manage.
Samantha goes like, she's like, "Are you going elk hunting now?"
Yeah, she calls me the adder honor in chief because I continue to add things on. But
adder honor in chief.
Yeah, there are certain things
good.
that I love doing, and I feel really spiritually connected. And you know, that's where I was going with the elk too. Is like as I've become an elk hunter, I really start to learn more about the animal and develop a love for the animal and a respect for it. Like, where do they live? What do they eat? What is their migration pattern? Like, that's all very important to hunting. When do they wake up? And where will you find them most likely? All those things you start to obsess about if you want to be a good hunter, because you have to, you know, be able to track them and see how long ago they were here. You know, you look at the scat and is it dry and old or is it fresh? And you kind of get an idea where they are. If it's all brown and dried out, okay, they haven't been here for a while.
Yeah.
Sometimes you find the beds. You can even smell them when you get close because they have like a musky smell.
Yeah.
So it's really a love for the animals, and it's interesting too because our brand is vegan. We're not certified vegan, but all of our products are vegan. And you know, to be a hunter, it's kind of controversial around vegans, but I've found actually that most vegans are more respectful of someone that will actually hunt their own meat as opposed to, you know, buying it from the store.
Yeah.
Not that I never buy it from the store, but it's a whole different process and they respect that more.
Yeah.
I've had so many vegans that were like, I haven't had meat in years, but I'll try this elk that you harvested because I trust you. I know your integrity around everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, they'll have meat and be like, wow, I feel so like much nutrition in my body. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Now I have testosterone. This is great. Yeah. So good.
And I try to use as much of the elk as possible. Like I even harvested a bunch of and turned it into leather. I'm going to make some more of those holsters we have.
Yeah, nice.
And also I use the liver is really nutritious. It's sometimes the flavor is a little intense, but if you do it right, and Samantha has learned how to make an amazing pate, it's really good and it has so much nutrition for you.
Yeah.
And the heart is also very good.
Yeah.
You know, have you harvested an elk yet?
I have not harvested an elk yet.
Man,
I just did honestly, I did my first deer just this last year.
Yeah.
So my dad was into hunting, and then when I was born, he just kind of didn't really get into it. So I went pheasant hunting.
Yeah.
I mean, grew up in 10 acres, so we were shooting guns, but I never really went hunting.
Yeah.
Until later in life, you know, it was last year.
Yeah.
I went in my first deer hunt, proper deer hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a powerful experience.
It was, and it was, you know, we're in a blind, and it was almost it's like the deer presented itself.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is mine.
Yeah.
You know, I had this moment of, I went spearfishing too.
Yeah.
I remember going with a guy down there. He's like, and I was just all over the place. I'm like, trying to chase after him. He's like, wait to see which one presents itself to you.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So I go down and kind of wait and get in the right spot. And sure enough, you know, it's like the universe will be like, okay, we'll give you a gift. Here you go.
Yeah.
Send one out. And I had the same thing with the deer. I was like, last night, we're probably 10, 15 minutes before we're going to shut things down. And then sure enough, one came right at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
that
awesome.
happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a deer do that to me once. Most of the shots I've had, I hunt with a rifle. I do have a bow and I would love to learn to do that. I mean, I'm learning how to do that and eventually I will, but the rifle. So one time I was hunting with Rob, our friend Rob Buchholz, and you know, we heard all these elk. They were doing like their bugling. They were like down below in this little valley, and we had seen a really nice trail where they were going up and down. So we decided to like hang out on that trail to hopefully catch them coming out of the valley in the morning. So we got there, you know, dark 30. It's freezing cold, and we're looking down, and we're hearing a lot of noise. And I'm doing my cow call every once in a while, and they're calling back, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna come up from there. So I was really focused on down below. And it was just right as the sun was cracking. So it was like, you know, kind of darkish, but you could see. And I saw some movement above me and to the right. And so I was like, okay, what's that? So I turned to look up, and there was two elk that had just like stepped out really close, ended up being 30 yards away.
Wow.
Which I was like, oh, that was like, we did a good job being quiet. If we,
Yeah.
got in here, settled down. We sat there for like an hour before that happened, but one presented itself, and then as I turned towards it, it looked towards me because it saw me move. It was like so close, and then I just completely froze and didn't move, and then it went back to doing its thing and walking, and then I was able to get a really good, clean, close shot on it and harvest an elk for that year.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's something so powerful about that too. Getting an elk.
Yeah.
Big rack.
Yeah. Well, that one wasn't that big. It
Yeah.
was on the small side. Like I said, I'm not looking for a big trophy or anything like that.
Yeah, it just wants some meat.
I will, of course, choose the biggest one there because
Right.
that gives you more meat, that I can find. But some people will be like, oh, it's too small. I'm going to pass because they're looking for a big rack. I have gotten ones with big rack, but this time it was barely legal. And it actually ended up tasting amazing. And I think it was because it was a younger bull. The older ones are a little tougher,
Right.
So yeah, it's a special thing. And it's not for everyone. And I get that,
Yeah.
but it definitely feels right for me. I feel like we came from hunter-gatherers, and this is kind of like nature's gift or God's gift to us. Like all the food comes from animals or plants, everything that's alive. And so I really see it as there's no life on the planet without death, and it's just a cycle. Someday we'll be food for the worms,
That's it.
So I know I'm going to be a part of the cycle and feed the trees or whatever.
Yeah.
But, it's just part of that.
Part of the process.
Part of the process.
If there's anything especially with your hunting, your Burning Man experiences, seeing what you built over here in Topanga, your nuts company, like Rich takes no shortcuts.
Yeah.
You're dedicated to the process and learning and like really, if you think of, it's just authentic.
Yeah.
You can trust that. So that's what I feel about when I meet with, especially when I first met you, I'm like, this guy's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
You're going to learn something new, but you're just real and authentic. And if you say it's good, I believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I received that.
Yeah. Receive it.
And I appreciate it. And it is something that's reflected to me often about authenticity and integrity and trust, right? I'm not going to bring you some BS thing.
Yeah.
Like if I think it's BS, I'm going to say, hey, this is lame. Let's not do this. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And I've definitely done lame stuff. I try not to share that with people. Sometimes they were there with me when it happens, but I'll be very, very candid with things. Say like, hey, I don't know how this is going to go, but we're going to try it. And like I said, sometimes my experiments work and sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
But that's just part of life,
right?
And you just have to roll with the experience.
Yeah, another moment I was just thinking about this another moment that stood out to me is you actually harvested your own, was it bufo for the frogs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Toad medicine.
Toad medicine.
Yeah.
And I was like, how in the world? Like most people would just find some shaman that's got it in the jungle and they've maybe bought it online, but you took the time to actually go harvest this yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that twice actually, and that's also another clean, unique experience. You basically, it's best done at night because it's easier to find the toads, and you have to go in the right area. I'm not going to disclose those areas,
right?
But it's in the Sonora Desert. That's where the toads originate, and so you can find them there near water, obviously, because they're toads.
Yep.
And you basically just catch them, and we put them all like in a bucket. We had a lid on it with a bunch of holes, so I'm sure they were a little scared in there, but we harvested a few, and then it's so simple. You just squeeze the gland onto a piece of glass. It like kind of squirts out like almost like you're popping a pimple.
Yeah.
But a little bit more force. And, it's kind of thick, mucusy stuff, and you just let it dry on the glass, and that's
there you go.
That's your 5-MeO.
Yep.
Which is a rocket ship to
the
is. Divine.
It's if you want a rocket ship to the divine, I think that's the best word. Yeah. I've never really I've had great experiences, but never got, oh, you need to do this in your life or like the next steps or saw some amazing. I definitely was like, boom, blown away. And I am all things. I am now rich.
Yeah.
We're all one together.
Yeah.
But I've never gotten messages like I do for a mushroom ceremony or an ayahuasca experience.
Yeah.
To each their own.
No, I agree. I feel like it's more of an experience of oneness, or at least it's different for everyone, obviously.
Yeah.
But for me, and it sounds like for you, like my first time doing it, I felt like I just expanded out and I was the entire universe and I could feel, know, do, see everything. It was like an omniscience kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that godlike experience, which has value, but did it give me insights on how to show up better in the world? Not necessarily, I don't think. Not like ayahuasca or mushrooms kind of pointing to things. I haven't done ibogaine yet, but I'm looking towards that. But I did find, so since I harvested and I had a bunch for a while, I would actually, one of the ways I found where I could get some insights out of it, I would sprinkle some into like a cannabis joint.
Interesting.
And smoke that. And it's not as intense of an effect. It's a little bit more sustained when it combines with the cannabis, and it kind of gives you like a more conscious high. You're not like totally out of it. And I found that I would get some insights out of that. That was more revealing than just the full rocket ship experience.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're a little bit more present. The other one, you're like, the ego is gone.
Yeah.
So how can you get any insights into I because you're not I?
Yeah. You're just into another realm.
Yeah.
I recently went to there was a DMT, I don't want to say it was a conference. It was they were just doing a talk, Dr. Hoffman and Gilliard, and they did it right here in Venice. This was just last week.
Oh, amazing.
About how they're now studying, people's DMT experiences and what is there. What are we seeing?
Yeah.
And they're basically taking mathematicians or people that, it's like, imagine we're going to Mars and we're going to go see what's out there. So we need somebody that's going to study, the air quality, the rock formations. We need somebody that's really good with math so they can understand the geography over there.
Yeah.
And how the sun moves and how the moon moves around. So anyway, they're taking these leading experts from around the world, taking them on these DMT experiences to go in there, like, let us know what you think about the colors and how the mathematics work in this realm.
Yeah.
And anyway, they're coming up with now the science behind it. What realm are we actually going into? What does this all mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And having shared experiences, a lot of the guys are having shared experiences of the, they call them the agents, of what agents are there, or the elf people, whatever they're seeing.
Aliens. Yeah, describe it in different ways.
Yeah. Like who are these people? You know, it's wild, but I think, with AI, sky's the limit, man.
Yeah.
See where we're going to go with
like
that.
you're alluding to is oftentimes we have difficulty articulating these experiences because we don't really have a context for what these things are or how to even describe them. I mean, thinking of the 3D world that we live in, that we were born into, from the time we're a baby, our parents are like, that's a wall, that's a cat, that's a microphone. When you're in that world, you're like a baby and there's no one there going, this is an elf. Or,
right.
They're not labeling it or describing it. So you have to kind of come up with your own words and experience around it.
Yeah. Don't go to the black hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I see a lot of like sacred geometry and different colors, like iridescent colors that are, mostly forming in patterns and I don't know how to describe it other than sacred geometry with symbols on it and stuff.
Right.
I feel like there's a part of me that knows what it is, but consciously I don't. Maybe subconsciously at my soul level, I get what those things mean.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had so many unique experiences in that, and I can't describe what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know what world I'm in.
Yeah.
Hey, microphone, work.
Uh-oh, did it cut?
Test. No, you're still good, but mine's not cutting off. Hang on. Hey, test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. 4, 2. Okay, there we go. All right, you try talking again.
Check the levels. How's it going?
Hey, that's good. Now we're good. I don't know why I did that. That was fun. Good thing, because I keep my eye on the thing over here.
Yeah.
Like, am I talking? Why is the camera not switching? There it goes.
Yeah.
But I saw yours was going the whole time, so we're good.
Oh, that's good.
But this is the fun part of it, too, because people that watch this are like, yeah, as soon as we start talking about DMT, the alien world comes in and starts hacking my phone, starts messing with the cameras. Yeah.
Somehow that part was all blanked out.
Yeah. What the hell? That's great.
Yeah.
But I think going back to it, it's like, again, you probably could have just gone and had that experience, but you're like, no, let me go find these frogs and I'm going to go harvest this myself. No shortcuts.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. I do agree with what you're saying. I do like to go all the way in on things and like be there from the ground floor, essentially. And I think it's important in a way to understand these things, especially these medicines that are so powerful.
Yeah.
You know, like what is it like to grow this plant? Well, you know, cannabis, for instance. You know, what is it like to harvest the toad? You know, those are the two things that I've done. And like cannabis, again, very simple process. Grow the plant, cut it, dry it, smoke it. Super simple.
Yeah.
I think that's where we get off kilter. You know, like if you think of cocoa, I forget what they call it in Colombia, but they chew the leaves.
Yeah.
It's a totally different. It gives you some energy. It's not like you're super high, but then take that, distill it with gasoline and all these intense things, and turn it into cocaine. That's a whole different animal.
Right.
But you think of how processed it is with like, you know, putting ether or something on it to dissolve. It's like a whole mess.
Yeah.
And that's why the energy of that is not the same as the other one. That's
Yeah.
why I like these simple things. You just dry it out and
Yeah.
eat it or smoke it or whatever.
Keep it natural, baby.
As much as possible.
Yeah.
You know?
I had one of my most unique experiences with you too, as I remember, in the Colorado River trip that you basically, you know, led, I don't know, whether there's 20 of us,
Yeah,
you know,
I
in
think there were
canoes.
25 boats. Yeah.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Such a unique experience, you know, rich, one with nature here. Follow us. Yeah. Don't go right.
Stay out of that.
Stay out of that way. Yeah.
Been down there before. It sucks.
Yep.
Yeah. That is one of my favorite trips of all time. I mean,
I see a branded Rich's Nuts canoe trip happening.
maybe.
You know, part of your future branding. Maybe we'll do one together. You can do Rich's Nuts. I'll bring my gummies.
Yeah.
We got to only do microdose though, because you got to handle the canoe.
Yeah. You
Don't
do.
get too lost.
You do have to handle the canoe. Yeah, I've done that trip, I think, at least 10, maybe 12 times. And I've done it with a big group most of the time. But there was one time that I went just with my ex. And it was really special because we were able to stay super quiet. And because, look, when we went with a big group, everyone's talking.
I remember this with Benedini.
Benedini, everyone's like making a lot of noise. But we were able to be like totally quiet. And what we noticed was that all the animals started turning on because it's actually a nature preserve.
Yeah.
And during, I think, late summer and in the fall, the birds fly in and they're all hiding out in the reeds and stuff and back in the little crevices and parts of the Colorado River.
Yep.
And if you're completely silent, it's like this whole orchestra starts to come on. Like there's bullfrogs. I mean, you don't really get to see the animals. You just hear them like, and the symphony comes. And then, you know, like maybe you accidentally knock over your oar in the boat and it makes that ding.
Yep. And then
That's it.
15 minutes, you got to wait another 20 minutes.
Yeah, they go totally quiet. They
Right.
just, and then you have to wait.
But I remember that. It was you and Samantha, and I was with Benedini.
Yeah.
So Daniel Benedini, the Brazilian guy.
Yeah.
And he could not shut up. He couldn't sit still.
Yeah.
And we had that moment, though. I remember we waited. It was, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. And all of a sudden, the forest and
Yeah.
everything around just, all the noises like, oh, my God. And then all of a sudden, ding, he'd hit his oar or he'd ask a question. Then, you know, everything
Ruins it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, come on. But
Yeah.
that was special. That was a really special trip.
Yeah, and then that's where the petroglyphs are too. We're stopped there on the rock.
Yeah, that's
ancient
right.
Paintings.
Well, actually, that's where you brought the 5-MeO.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I think with Ryan Seaman.
Yeah.
And that's what I was like, Rich is our first shaman here. Look at this guy.
That was a perfect place for all of
Yeah.
that, actually.
That was wild.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, then someone was like, "Hey, our boats are drifting away."
Yeah, whoops.
I had to run down and grab a couple of them, but you know.
Oh, dude, in that same trip, someone dislocated their arm.
That's right.
And I was in the water, and nobody knows this, but Rich is also a paramedic.
Yeah.
Or was.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was like, thank God this guy's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was, I think, cliff jumping.
Yeah.
And he landed like this, and his shoulder came
Whoops.
out. Yeah, we had to get it back in, but he was definitely not doing well.
No.
He was very pale.
Yep.
And I think we had to put him in a boat, and someone just paddled him back.
Yep.
He was done for the trip.
Yeah, you're going to be fine. We got an hour trip on the canoe.
It was toward the end, luckily.
Yeah, thank God.
But yeah, there's been a couple scary moments on there. Were you there when we were all tied together?
No.
We had like we have like a flotilla, you know how we used to like bungee cord to each other?
Yeah.
Because it's like a lazy river and you just kind of float.
Right.
And then there was like a big buoy in the middle of in the river. And I was marking something, I don't remember what, power lines or something above. But we were heading to it, and I don't know, I've had some swift water experience with the fire department. I was swift water qualified, and anytime there's a static line and you have a bunch of boats, you could get hung up on that thing and flip over and
Done.
we were all under the bars and laying down, and some people weren't the most sober. So like
Right.
you could definitely have someone get seriously injured there. So I was pretty concerned about that. And I kind of got very assertive, which is part of my fire department training. Like when there's a real emergency on, like this is what you have to do. Like everybody cut the boats apart right now, get loose.
What?
You know?
What are you talking about?
And they're like, is he serious? I'm like, do it right now because your life depends on it. And they all got scared, but everyone reacted in time. And we literally just missed the buoy, went right between my boat and the boat next to me.
It's like when Dad finally gets pissed.
I wasn't mad. I mean, I think I scared some people because like they always see me as the fun-loving rich and not necessarily the emergency mode rich.
Right.
And it's just, you have to be able to flex into that when you need to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really could see someone, potentially dying in that situation. So, and the thing is, I've had a lot of experience with that kind of stuff. And most people don't really get it.
Yeah.
And when it happens fast and it's too late. There's not much to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got to be ready to jump into fireman mode when you need to.
No kidding. Do you still do any, I mean, now that you were, you're paramedic, I mean, technically you still got the training.
Yeah.
Is that something you still keep up with, or is it like kind of let that go?
I let my license go. I'm not a licensed paramedic any longer. But as you know, like I use that as a springboard to become certified as an ozone therapist.
Yeah.
So I'm still certified as an ozone therapist. I'm not really practicing it anymore just because I'm so busy with Rich Nuts, but I still have those skills and sometimes rely on them when there's emergencies. But so they're all still there. It's just not something I do all the time. And you need to be licensed to like do a lot of the things where you're using, medications and, certain invasive procedures.
Yeah.
I don't have the equipment to do all that stuff, so it didn't make sense to do it. But like if someone needs CPR or someone's choking or there's something I can do, obviously I'll step in.
Yeah. Call Rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the thing at Burning Man too. When my playa name was Rescue Man, then everyone, whenever there was an emergency, hey, Rich, come on. And I'm like, hey, I'm having a good time over here.
Yeah.
But, I always step into that. And that's I think that's why being a fireman was such a natural fit for me, because I'm always like there to help people in emergency, especially. Yeah. And I still do that whether or not I'm getting paid to do it or not.
Right.
It's just part of who I am, really.
Yeah.
At this point.
Speaking of which, I think I told you I'm bringing my dad to Burning Man this year.
Yeah, you did mention that.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
We'll see. You took your dad, right?
Yeah, it was a great experience.
Yeah.
He had a blast. It was
Captain 3 Drops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 Drops was his playa name.
Yeah.
And then my 2 brothers came along that year too, so we were all there together. It was really fun.
Wow. That's cool.
My brothers, I think, have been twice each.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 times. But yeah, having my dad there was really special.
Yeah.
I think you're going to have a good time. He's going to have a good time.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be babysitting him the whole time.
Hey.
Whatever. He did it enough for me.
Payback.
It is payback. It's like he spent a lot of time and energy, whatever I wanted to do when I was a kid. I think, return the favor a little bit.
Yeah, and he's been hearing about it for years through your experience. He's like, I want to go someday, right? And I'm like, let's go now.
That was it.
Thing is, it's not getting younger. And
that's exactly what he said. He's like, I'm not getting younger. I know you keep talking about it, but so I think maybe this is the year. I'm like, well, don't say maybe.
Let's go.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. In 10 years from now, and people don't realize how hard and intense it is on your body.
Oh my God.
We're both in shape guys, and like it kicks my butt. I know that.
Still, day one, every time I go there, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot.
Yeah.
And then my body gets used to it, and then I'm, back to it. But my dad likes to drink, so I'm like, I don't know. You probably don't want to drink a lot over here. You're dehydrated.
Dehydration is real.
And then we're gonna be calling Rich. Hey, so you have those IVs?
Do you have any?
Yeah. Actually, we won't be calling. These phones don't work over there. Actually, my Starlink worked, so that was good.
Starlink is great on Playa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's as long as nobody knows your password, then you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't give it out to too many people.
Yeah.
I would share with other people that had Starlinks, though, because actually, like, if I know where you are, you know where I am, and maybe I'm in your neighborhood and I need to get on the phone to try to find someone or whatever, I know I can go by yours and I have the password, and then I can send out messages and you have mine if you need it.
All right, good. We can do
Kind
that
of creates
this year.
a network.
Are you going this year? Maybe.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Maybe is the answer right now. I of course want to every time, but let's see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's always I think now you can get tickets pretty easily. So.
Yeah, and we're set up. We have the bus.
Yeah.
And it's ready to go. Pretty much. I have to do some maintenance on it anyway. So
always a custom job.
I'm gonna get it ready.
Yeah.
We did put it out there for people potentially to rent it, but I'd rather go obviously than
I mean, the bus is amazing. Yeah. Again,
another
attention
project.
to detail.
Yeah.
Like there is no shortcuts in you creating that bus that you can live in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely a custom job.
Yeah.
And we put so much thought and insight to the remodel because, I had been going to Burning Man 10 years at that point. So it's like, okay, what do I need? A ton of storage space.
Yeah.
I need a kitchen, I need a bathroom, I need this, a refrigerator, a big shower, like all the things.
Yeah.
So, and then the roof rack, which is amazing. We store stuff up there.
Yeah.
And we added solar now.
Nice.
You know what the crazy thing with the solar is? So it's an old 1974 Gillig Brothers diesel bus. The gas
amazing.
mileage is terrible, right? Obviously. Yeah. I think it used to get 9 miles to the gallon. And after we put the solar on, I put it on at a slant like this. So it created some efficiency and drag. So now I get, I used to get 8 miles and now I get 9.
Hey, there you go.
It improved the efficiency of the bus while driving.
Less drag.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a toaster heading through the wind.
Yeah, totally. And I'm mostly running on solar. Like last year, I went and we had to use a generator for about 2 hours a day. And that's like running the AC like 24/7, like as much as we wanted, like when we were there and stuff. So the solar was great. It helped a ton. And then a little bit of generator just to charge up the batteries.
Right.
And I was good to go.
Yeah.
All through the night.
Yeah. So you're ready. You can just go live off in the middle of the forest somewhere if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did a little bit of that last year after Burning Man. We went out to Zion and, we were pretty much off grid there. It wasn't as hot, so we didn't really need the generator. And then we also went up to Glacier. Again, same thing.
Nice.
It was a little chilly there, and the heater actually burns up the battery really fast. So I'm going to put in a diesel exhaust, what do they call it? A diesel heater.
Okay.
So it's really efficient. It can also heat water for you. So the more things I take off the electrical, I can run on that huge diesel tank, the better off I'll be.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Zion's one of my favorite spots.
Oh, man. It's so beautiful.
Oh, where'd you guys end up parking?
Yeah, so it was all booked up, so we couldn't get in the park. We actually stayed on the BLM land just outside of it. I think it's called Hurricane Cliffs. You can stay for 2 weeks for free, which was awesome. So we had this beautiful spot, like kind of looking right up the valley into Zion, and we stayed there. Our friend came, so we were able to just drive with her into the park every day.
Nice.
I did have the e-bike, so we could have rode the bikes there, but we just decided to drive.
Yeah.
Glacier. Have you been to Glacier yet?
No.
Wow.
Tell me more.
Yeah. So we were at Burning Man, and I was like, yeah, I have this vision of like going out and working in the national parks now that we have Starlink and solar and all this stuff. And everyone's like, and I was interviewing, kind of doing a poll. What's the best national park you've been to? And Glacier, I kept hearing, was like the surprise. Cause like people talk about Yosemite and Yellowstone, and I had never been to Yellowstone. I was leaning towards Yellowstone. But I just heard Glacier, 8 out of 10 answers. Anyone who had been there was just raving about it. And they're like, it's quieter, it's less discovered. You go to Yellowstone and it's like, tourists everywhere. It's a whole, Zion is kind of like that too.
Right.
But Glacier is like pretty empty and just incredibly beautiful. There's lots of bears there too. So make sure you
look out for the bears.
Bring the bear spray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I tell you I had a bear here 2 weeks ago?
I think you did. Yeah.
This is the craziest thing.
In Topanga.
Right here, right in Topanga. I mean, 2 nights in a row, I was like hearing, it's like someone digging through the garbage. And my neighbor was there. And I'm like, God, maybe he dropped his phone. I was thinking all this weird stuff. Why is he digging through the garbage?
Yeah.
So finally, the second night, I'm like, all right, this is stupid. Like, I go out with a flashlight. Hey! And all of a sudden, this big black bear, mama bear, like starts charging me. I'm like, whoa!
No way.
I'm back in the house. Then I'm up on, I can jump on my balcony and I'm looking down. and it's tagged, so it's obviously, people know about it.
Yeah.
And the reason it was jumping at me is their mama cub, or the little baby cub, was up the tree like 10 feet from me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like looking at this one, and there's another one down in the koi pond eating fish, free food. And then the other one's digging in the trash. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
That's pretty exciting.
it was exciting.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, every night, if I'm gonna go take out the garbage, I'm, bring a little flashlight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make some
a lot of
noise. Yep.
Yeah. Don't want to shock them and scare them. That's
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she would have ran away if she didn't have her cubs with her, but
probably.
yeah.
Most animals will run in nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you look up the animal medicine on bear?
No.
Oh yeah, I should definitely. look
Yeah, I
into that.
should.
Usually there's a message I find in them.
I should do that because, yeah. I know my neighbor was having people over. That was my big worry. He had a bunch of people over there. And I was calling him. He wasn't picking up. I'm like, don't go outside. So I text him, don't go outside. Don't let the dogs out.
Yeah.
So I could just see this. Oh, look at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also mountain lions here in the canyon.
Yeah. This is Wild Kingdom out here, man.
Yeah.
Rattlesnakes, mountain lions, bears.
Yeah, the snakes should be out now.
Yeah. We had a massive one just right over here.
Yeah.
I mean, it had that and the babies. I mean, massive.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
And one of the guys, I guess, that's been over here before, he's like, oh, I deal with rattlesnakes and I can move them if you want. Like, yeah, have at it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm sure it's going to eventually make its way
Come right
back up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to have to dispatch them, unfortunately, with the fire department if someone called. Because if we took it somewhere else and then it came back and bit them, now we're liable for it.
Yeah. So did you get any tails?
Yeah.
Nice.
A lot of tails. And I used to tan the skins and make stuff with them.
Yeah.
But I haven't done it in a while. But yeah, I used to do that.
When I first got my dog, so it was my ex and I had a dog and little Pacha. And maybe 5 months old. And all of a sudden she's sitting down. We had some workers out here working on the property. And all of a sudden I hear her yelp. And I'm like, look down. And there was a baby rattler snake that just came and bit her.
Oh, no.
Nobody saw it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, no, because that's actually even worse because those little things don't know how to loosen up the venom.
Yeah.
So anyway, got her to the hospital right away, anti-venom, and she was fine.
Yeah.
But I took that thing and I was like, I remember I wanted to make a little dog collar out of it. I still stretched it out and kept the rattle. It wasn't huge.
Yeah.
I was going to make a little dog collar, but my ex was like, that is not a good idea.
I don't want that.
I don't want that. I was like,
Yeah.
that's cool. What?
Yeah.
This dog's a strength, it's
Survivor.
power. It's a survivor. Yeah.
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 That's pretty fun. Yeah, whenever I have an animal experience, I'll go look up on the internet like what is the animal medicine around this, and like owls are different. I had a really amazing owl experience one time in an ayahuasca ceremony. I was actually sitting in the Brazilian way where they do like women on one side, men on the other, and they have all these Portuguese songs that you sing.
Yep.
You have to sit up the whole time. It's very strict. And they do 2 cups. Then they have they call it the Pauwels, the pause,
Yep.
where you kind of take a break, go to the bathroom. And then we were sitting outside. And this was near Yosemite at this golf course that had been abandoned and was now like, I don't know, some hippies owned it. And they were doing Aya ceremonies there.
Yeah.
And so I was looking down like one of the fairways. You could see pretty far because it was cleared still. It was kind of overgrowing, but it was still fairly clear. And I saw like this white bird way at the end of the fairway, and it was just like flying across my view. And then all of a sudden it just started flying right towards me, and it was coming closer and closer. And I was like, oh, wow, that looks like a giant owl. Man, it's coming right at me. Holy crap. I was
Right
like
at
laying
me.
down.
Yeah.
I was like, was it going to eat me or something? So I sat up, and I had like a furry blanket on me because it was kind of chilly out. And it was maybe like 15 feet away when it finally realized it. I think maybe I thought it was an animal and saw the fur and it was going to try to investigate if it could eat me or not. But when I sat up, it realized how big I was, and it kind of just stopped and was like, whoo, whoo, and like did that like 3 times with his wings, and then just turned and flew the other way.
Wow.
It was this big, beautiful white owl. And I was like,
That's wild.
did anyone else see that?
Yeah. Am I the only one visioning it?
Samantha had gone to the bathroom, and so she missed it. I was like, you'll never believe what happened.
Yeah.
And she was like, an owl? I was like, yeah. So,
She's like, no, you're deep on Naya.
yeah.
Now, do you remember the message with the owl?
It was about clarity of vision.
Yeah.
That's the main thing I remember about it, but it was about like, because owls have incredible sight, right?
Yeah.
That's part of their superpower. And it was about like clarity of vision, basically on your life, and it was kind of a message around that. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if we can look up bear medicine.
Yeah.
See if this thing still stays on. We're asking ChatGPT. It's still on. All right. What is bear medicine? No, what is spiritual meaning of bear?
Yeah. You could put bear medicine. It should be able to figure it out.
All right, we're doing this live. This is our Jamie. Strength and courage, protection and boundaries, introspection and inner wisdom, leadership and confidence. Okay, those are our cliff notes with it.
Yeah. Does that feel relevant to you?
That
2 weeks ago?
That feels very relevant 2 weeks ago, although I did not feel strength and courage as that was running after me. I was like in fear.
Yeah.
I knew nothing bad was going to happen. I was like, I was like, all right, I gotta get my phone. I'm going to record this thing.
Yeah.
You don't get to see a black bear, coming after you that very often. Hopefully not.
That's amazing. This close to Los Angeles, if you think about it.
Yeah. And then you think about, well, where are these things hiding out? They're probably got their little tour,
Caves and stuff.
Yeah.
They come down to visit the trash cans for food. It's easy.
Sure.
It's easy pickings.
Yeah. Or a koi pond. They're like, oh, look at this sushi.
Did they eat all the fish?
I think they got 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
Slashing around in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Topanga, when I lived at the treehouse with Johan, one night I was asleep, and Zimona was like, she woke me up. She was like, "There's something outside." I was like, "What?" And she's like, "There's something outside. I heard something in the tree."
Oh, hang on, because I got to move back to my mix. Oh. I mean, it's still catching your voice, but...
Yeah.
All right, now talk again. See if it's going to you.
So one time I was
Nope,
standing
still
outside.
Not there.
This one time at band camp.
There you go. Now you're on.
This one time at the treehouse in Topanga, my ex-wife, she woke me up and she was like, "Hey, there's something outside." And I was like, "What?" I was like half asleep. She was like, "I heard something out there. You got to wake up and go see what it is." And I was like, "Okay." So, I got up and I put my pajamas on or whatever. I think I was in my underwear maybe. And I went out the front door, had my flashlight, and I heard some noise in the tree. And if you remember the outdoor shower there,
yeah,
where the plum tree was,
yeah.
So we've been noticing some of the plums were disappearing, or we find them chewed up on the ground. We're like, it must be the squirrels or something, And I came out there, and there were 3 little bandits. There were 2 up in the tree, and then the mama bear down low. But it wasn't a bear; it was a raccoon.
Oh,
and I was like, "Oh, they're eating our plums." So I got a broom. And I came after the mama with the broom, and she turned around on me and started hissing and running at me like crazy, like, and I was like, "Ah!" Like I'm about to get my bum rushed by a raccoon.
Yep.
And so I was like, "Okay, you could have a few plums."
No problem. Yeah, here, take these.
They can get pretty serious.
Yeah, those things are nasty. My bedrooms, the roof it's a loft area, so if someone's walking on the rooftop here, you hear it. It's a flat roof.
Yeah.
So at night, this was, I don't know, year and a half ago, all of a sudden I'm hearing, what sounds like balls or acorns or something going across. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, it sounded like someone's playing, with a ball back and forth. It turns out there's a group of raccoons up there just messing around, running after each other, tossing acorns back and forth to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Making my life hell, trying to go to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm banging on the ceiling, like, get out of here.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So it is never a dull moment over here.
They're pretty rambunctious.
Yeah.
But hey, this is why we live in Topanga, right? That's it. This is the value. For me, there's nature here, and that's what I loved about so close to LA, so close to the ocean, and you still have wild animals. Yeah. I saw a mountain lion once too in Topanga.
Woo, nice. Yeah. During the firefighting days?
I think I was still a firefighter, but I wasn't working. I was just coming back to the house, I think, from some event in Los Angeles. And it was, I think it might have been like New Year's Eve or Christmas. It was like a holiday. Yeah. And I was just turning the last corner to the house, and I saw something in the trash can, and I kind of stopped because I saw like some tail or something. And then it jumped out, and it was big. It wasn't a big mountain lion. It was kind of a smallish one, but it was a mountain lion. And then it just had the long tail and stuff, and it ran off pretty quick. But I was like, "Whoa, there's a mountain lion in the neighbor's trash can!"
Right.
Wow.
Oh, that's right. This reminds me of that. So Carol, you met Carol before. Her son wanted to get his own. What were they? Koi. Not it was a koi, the bird. Not
Okay.
koi. Quail.
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 Okay.
Quail.
Like a pet.
So he got these little pet quails. So you could get these eggs, incubate them, and then they grow up, and then you go find you can build a little dome for them.
Yeah.
So anyway, they were getting big, and I was like, well, maybe we just put them up, on the top of the property. We built the proper fence for them, and all of a sudden, we noticed this mountain lion was coming through,
Yeah.
looking for food.
Yeah.
And so that happened 3 or 4 times, and then some of the neighbors were complaining because this was in Sherman Oaks, and we're like, all right, quail got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those stupid things, they would sit on the outside of the fence, and birds would come in,
Try to get them.
peck at them, and then we'd come over there. I think we started with 20, and by the end, there was maybe 12 left, because birds would peck at them.
Yeah.
They were just easy prey.
Hawks will eat them.
Hawks would eat them. Yeah. And, they're trying to hide out, and they're hiding out in,
There's no space.
yeah. How do you, I'm like, go into your little home.
Yeah.
No, they get freaked out and go to the edge of the perimeter of the fence, and that's when they get pecked at. Yeah. So,
Yeah. They're not the smartest,
no. Yeah.
but they're tasty.
Tasty. Yeah.
Yeah. Quail are pretty fun.
Yeah. You've done some quail hunting too, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I started, my first hunting experience was with my uncles when I was like, I don't know, maybe 13.
Yeah.
And we would hunt for quail and rabbit.
Nice.
Yeah. And actually I did that not too long ago out in Joshua Tree. It was so cool because I had this electric dirt bike and I would ride around and hunt quail.
Nice.
It's pretty fun because you can cover more ground that way. And the electric is pretty quiet, but I think they've since outlawed electric dirt bikes for hunting because it's kind of an unfair advantage. They say.
Right. Like we want to hear you coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Or
do
walk it off.
Yeah, I never hunted with dogs, but I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
That would be
well-trained
good.
dog.
Yeah. Yeah. My brother-in-law has that. He goes hunting dog, and that's his thing. So maybe I'll go with him.
What does he hunt? Quail?
Quail, yeah, duck, and then of course he's done bear hunting, elk hunting, and deer hunting. He got a bear last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's serious.
That's true, yeah.
This
is the guy in Colorado?
Yeah, well, lives in Wisconsin now, but yeah, he goes to Colorado, Montana.
Yeah.
Went to Africa last year. Yeah.
The bear tags I know in Colorado are pretty easy to get and inexpensive because I think they have an overpopulation and they're trying to like bring the population down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Right.
I've never hunted bear, but I've had a couple interactions with them.
Don't miss.
Well, elk hunting, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're so I don't know too much about them because I've never hunted them, but they're like so mysterious to me. I just saw one and it was running down the mountain for a long time and then it just started running up the mountain and I was like, what is that thing doing? And it covered so much ground. I mean, it would have taken me hours to cover that much ground. And then it just fell over in the snow and was like panting. And I was like, what is this thing doing? I was watching it in my binoculars.
Yeah.
I saw some movement and I was like, what is that? It's a bear.
Was it going for food or something?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It was pretty far away. Maybe it smelled something, an elk or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the craziest hunting experience I had with a bear was, I don't know if I told you this story, but one year my friend wounded an elk and it was, had a blood trail and it went off in a certain direction and we were trying to find the blood trail and I heard some movement like, to my left, not too far away, and it started getting louder. And then my friend was below me, maybe like 50 yards. We were kind of searching the snow for the blood trail. And I sat down and I was eating my breakfast, my burrito for dinner or whatever. It was evening time. And I heard something and I thought it was another hunter because it was making a fair amount of noise in the brush. It wasn't quiet. And I was like, hey, are you hunting? What's going on? We wounded an elk. Do you see any blood? Nothing. I was like, hey, is there someone there? I called out 3 or 4 times and no response. And then the noise kind of continued past me. Oops. And I'm like, okay, I don't know if the guy just didn't want to talk to us. It was a little bit weird. Then we went down and I saw the bear tracks.
Uh-oh.
And we found the blood. And the bear was on the blood trail.
Of the elk.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And so we were able to find the elk. I mean, we were able to find the trail and follow it, and it went for miles, like all through this crazy brush. And then into a private property, I had my GPS, and I was like, okay, well, we can't trespass. We have to go ask for permission to go on their land. And so by the time we got back to the truck, it was like midnight. So we went to bed and we're like, we're going to get on it first thing in the morning. So, because like we're not going to come knocking on the door at midnight.
Yeah.
Hey.
I think I lost an elk.
Yeah. We came back the next morning and we found the property owner. And then he was like, yeah, I'll open the gate. You guys can drive up there. You know, I wouldn't want your meat to spoil.
Yeah.
He was really
That was
cool
nice.
about it. Yeah. So we went back to where we lost the trail, and then you could see the blood again, and we followed it. And then we found the elk, and it was like under this bush, kind of like covered up almost, like hidden. And so I crawled back there, and like all the organs and the guts were pretty much gone. They were eaten, and the whole back rear quarter was like chewed up on one side. And I was like, whoa, I think a bear must have eaten this thing.
Yeah.
You know? And so we were able to salvage most of it. And actually, the butcher said that the bear did us a favor, because if you leave the organs in too long, it spoils the meat.
Right.
But the bear must have been there right away and ate
Yep.
all the organs. So we were able to save about half to 3/4 of the elk.
Thank God made it lighter too. Didn't have to gut it.
We didn't have to gut it. It's
great.
We had to clean it up a little bit. And, you know, they had to cut off all the pieces where the bear's mouth was, basically, for sanitary purposes.
It's dicey.
Yeah. I was so scared when I was in there, because usually what they'll do is, it's already snowing, so it's kind of the time they're trying to fatten up for hibernation.
Yeah.
And the rancher had said, "Oh yeah, be careful back there, because there's a big mama bear. She's about 450 pounds with 2 cubs. So watch out for that." And I think those were the ones that must have gotten to it. So they probably ate and then went into their little den and took a nap. They come back and eat until they're full, and then, you know, they just go back and forth until
Right.
it's gone. So luckily, we must have caught them when they were sleeping, and we were able to get it out there before it got too crazy.
Right. They come back. Where's my food?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be happy they see you dragging their
No.
elk out. Well, it's our elk first, actually.
Yeah.
You know?
So you're like, you leave some nuts for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have these.
But these are the kind of experiences you have when you go out into nature and you hunt. And,
Yeah.
And, you know, you realize that you're part of the food chain out there too, you know?
Yeah. That's a big thing. And be prepared.
Yeah.
Be ready to go. I think that's another thing where Burning Man prepares you, or going hunting. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, there's not a Home Depot nearby, or, you know, Postmates. Figure it out.
Yeah. And it's really big on resilience too. If you think about, like, during COVID, for instance, there was a lot of people who were freaked out because there was no food in the stores, right?
Right.
I wasn't that afraid, because every morning I'd go for my bike ride I was living in Palisades at the time, but I would ride, trailer motorway.
Yep.
And it goes into Topanga State Park. And that was my morning ride, where I would do my sun gazing practice.
Sure.
And qigong and all that stuff. And every morning I would see quail and rabbits and often deer. I knew 2 or 3 edible plants there. So I was like, hey, if I need to, I got food right here.
Yeah.
This is where food comes from, nature, actually, not the store.
Right.
That's just the supply chain that it gets to us most
Yeah.
commonly. So that level of confidence and resilience, you know, that comes from that connection to nature, that understanding what I can eat, what's safe for me, what animals I know how to hunt and where they live and all that stuff. So it's like there's a level of confidence and safety and resilience in knowing about nature and understanding these things.
Yeah. And I think that's the big thing is, you know, where do you get your meat? Oh, I just go to the store. Like, no, there's a whole process to it, especially when you kill something, and, you know, the respect for the animal and then consuming that. It's a whole different level of, you know, consciousness around I would say consciousness around what you're eating.
Yeah.
You know, like this was a living animal at one time. So don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
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 And, you know, that's what I think there's a great thing about wild caught or doing your own hunt. You know, for the most part, they're living off the land right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes you feel better about, hopefully they've been eating some sprouted nuts and we can go, ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been eating what they're supposed to eat. That's the point. You know,
Yeah.
like with cattle, they're feeding them corn. They're not really
God.
supposed to eat corn.
Yeah.
So, and probably GMO corn, you know?
Right. Yeah. Don't get me started.
Yeah.
That's it's not good. Well, anything else that you want to bring into the table around where can they find you? It's rich.nuts.
Yeah.
Any new projects coming up with Rich Nuts?
Yeah, the website is richnuts.com.
Yeah.
We can add in a link too if you want to give your listeners a discount code. We can do that. Which
Yeah,
would be
let's
pretty
do
fun.
it. Yeah.
We'll add that in the show notes or however
Yep.
you add it. And Yeah, actually, a really exciting thing is we're gonna do like a limited release, kind of a test run on some sprouted stone ground nut butters,
Oh,
which are really next level.
okay.
So those are gonna
That's
be
interesting.
coming out soon. They're so good. It's like
I love
amazing.
this.
Yeah,
I mean, that's my morning practice. If I can get a good nut butter or peanut butter,
yeah,
like my jam in the morning is that, on some sourdough bread,
yeah,
get my little coffee in there.
yeah. We're
Yeah.
gonna do maple pecan. So you're gonna love
Oh,
that, and cinnamon walnut. Those are gonna be the two test
I love it.
runs. They should be out in the next 90 days. So
Okay.
anyone that listens to this, if you go to our website and buy something, you'll be on our newsletter. Subscribe to the newsletter, and when they're released, I'll let you know. We're gonna probably pre-sell a bunch of them and kind of get the stream going, and then they should be done in 90 days.
That's great.
Yeah,
I'm excited, brother.
I don't know when this is gonna air, but it will be.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
They'll
within the
be
next
out
couple
there.
weeks, probably we'll just edit it together. I've got a great gal doing the edits. Doing great, by the way. Yeah, right. By the way, or yes, I'll have her do some. But what was I plugged it into some AI algorithm that I literally was like, here's my podcast. And then all of a sudden it cut 10 different trailers that I could have with it.
Okay.
It'll take great, like in 30 seconds, I had all these cool little trailers
Yeah.
from our conversation. I cannot remember which platform that was, but yeah, that's the fun thing about editing, what's coming forward. And I feel bad. I still love to support, people that are actually doing this and really paying attention to the edits, but AI is making our lives a lot easier with that.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, for sure. Editing is where I used to always get bogged down. Still do on,
Yeah.
editing for social media. It's really time consuming.
Yeah. That's why I just don't like to do it.
Yeah.
Like, if it can get better where I can just go plug it in and be like, just take the good parts
Yeah.
and not think about it.
Yeah.
Because I've sat so many hours and trying to edit and get some music behind it. I'm like, I'm not good at this.
Yeah.
I don't want to be good at it.
Yeah.
It takes way too much time.
Way too much time.
Oh my God.
Much longer than actually shooting it.
Yeah. Are you having to do some of your own edits now too? And
We have a team. We outsource some of it, so they're doing a lot of the editing now. I do some of the stuff still,
yeah,
but mostly the team. Because you got to think about it. You have to live the thing, be the thing, right? And then you have to film the thing. Then you have to edit the thing. Then you have to post it and create the
Right.
captions. It's like 4 times the work of actually doing it, right?
yeah,
So yeah, we have some people that we use that
Yeah.
will edit stuff together for us.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I'm just not good at it, and I have so many. I'm better at creating the content, capturing it,
yeah,
educating people, talking about sprouting, why it's better.
yeah,
That's really where I think my zone of genius is, especially in communicating, the value proposition and why it's better,
Yeah.
why they're the best nuts ever.
yeah.
If you make the claim, you have to be able to back it up with
Yeah.
something, right? So
And you're in great shape. The nuts are working well for you. So
Yeah.
that's another thing. You can preach a product that really, it does well for you,
Yeah.
and it's good for you. It's healthy. It helped your gut. So
yeah.
yeah. How are the firemen, by the way? Are they using it now?
Yeah, they do eat it sometimes. A lot of them aren't necessarily super turned on to the organic thing. Some of the
Right.
guys are, but not everyone.
Yeah.
And they're super mindful about their how much they spend on food.
Yeah.
So they do buy it. Some of them buy it, and some of them get it. Not all of them though.
Yeah. By the way, so when the fires were coming through here,
Yeah.
they were elated. They're like, we haven't had this much food come in ever.
Yeah.
Of course the fires sucked, but they were like every night was
Yeah.
these just gourmet meals coming in, and they're like, we've got so much steak and hamburger and, pre-made meals. We don't know what to do with them anymore.
Yeah.
So they're having to give them away. But,
Yeah.
that was one good thing about, the community coming together and be like, we love you guys.
Yeah, and you do get a lot of support in that. I know one of the big fires when I was in Malibu, this wasn't the last one, but a couple fires back, there was all of Malibu was pretty much shut down, and the fire was winding down, and we were, you got on shift for a while, and then you're off. You got to have some rest time. And the guy from Nobu, the chef from Nobu came over before they were in the new location. He was like, hey, look, we have a ton of sushi. it's all going to go bad because, the road's closed and no one's coming in, the restaurant's closed. And
Yeah.
we got to do something with it. You guys want us to bring you a bunch of sushi? We're like, okay.
Yeah.
So, they brought over like tons and tons of amazing Nobu sushi. So there are some perks like that sometimes. He's like, we're going to have to throw it out, so you guys might as well eat it. And we're like, okay.
Done. We'll take it.
Yeah. Bring as much as you have.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Especially on those big campaign fires where there's like all kinds of people from everywhere in town to help fight the fire, and all the restaurants are closed, and we're not really have the energy to like go make meals because we're pretty exhausted after that.
I know we'll wrap this up soon, but I also had one other question.
Okay.
Speaking of all that, so I met some of these firefighters, and I remember it was nighttime, and these guys were heading out. I'm like, "Where are you guys going?" "Oh, we're gonna go sleep on the hill." And I was like, "Tell me what?"
Yeah.
Like they would. I mean, there was, I don't know, 50 to 100 guys just going out. Some would be in the like. I think the captains would get to sleep in the truck.
Yeah.
But the rest of the guys were just camped out on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to do that.
Did you ever have to do that?
Yeah, I've slept in a cot next to the fire engine before. Sometimes you'll have a cot on board if you're in a brush area. You have kind of your supplies.
Yeah.
The guys that come to the city, they're usually not as prepared.
Right.
So maybe they have a sleeping bag or something. But yeah, I've done that before. And then usually you have like a rotation of someone that will monitor the radio.
Yeah.
In case they need you. Then, that one guy's monitoring the radio all night or for 4 hours, and the next guy goes the next 4 hours, and or 2 hours, it depends on how many people you have to rotate through.
Right.
That way, everyone gets some rest.
Yeah.
And you're still alert enough in case like the fire shifts in your direction or whatever. And you generally take your sleep time in an area that's not, right in harm's way at that moment.
Right.
Kind of a little off to the side.
Yeah.
But, you have to sleep. Otherwise, if you stay up all night, how many days can you do that? Then you're
done.
useless. Now you're a danger to yourself and your crew and all the other things.
Yeah. Well,
we got to sleep too.
Yeah. That's otherwise. Yeah. If I don't get my sleep, especially now that I'm getting older, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I did a sleep study recently. You could do this at-home sleep study. And I had minor sleep apnea. Okay. And it said severe snorer.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, and you could read your oxygen level so I think mine was at 89%, which is, you should be 90, 95, something like that. Yeah. And so, I've started using now mouth tape.
Okay.
Shut your mouth, and hopefully that's helping. And I've actually felt more lively in the morning. Okay. So that's been helping. I don't want to get a sleep apnea machine, but yeah.
That's interesting too, because obviously we know how sleep is so beneficial to our well-being, to our health, our longevity. Yeah. That's why you did the study, right? But one of the things that I realized is I had a lot of sleep disturbance. 20 years of being a fireman, you get woken up in the middle of the night and you have to go on calls, and you really become trained in waking up fast. And people are like, what does that mean, waking up fast? It means like within 90 seconds you're out the door. And you could be going to a fire or to a gunshot wound or to a car accident where people are dying and all kinds of, chaos is happening, and you have to be on. Yeah. So you really get, adapted to that and trained to like wake up, go. And then, then you leave the fire service and you're like, wake up and to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And now you're on 60 miles an hour. What are we doing?
Right.
Nothing. We're just going back to bed. Oh, okay. Well, that might take me 2 hours.
Sometimes. Yeah. Think about that. Yeah.
So, I started to learn some tricks like yoga nidra and different brain entrainment apps with like binaural beats that kind of put you into sleepy mode, and PEMF. I have all these different tricks. Yeah. But, and I've done a lot better with it. Sometimes I still have my nights where I get like some insomnia. Something just gets in my brain, and oftentimes I'll either write it down so I can just let it go, because I think that's what keeps me up. Like, I have to, remember this thing that's really important for Rich Nuts, and then I just keep spinning on it, and I'm like, I'm just going to write this down, and I can let it go. Yep. And the other thing that gets me is when I wake up and I'm like, I'm thinking of the thing, and I'm like, oh, I totally lost my train of thought there. Yeah. We'll have to edit this part out.
Yeah. Who cares? But I get it. I've started doing dream journal. Like in the morning, I'll do a little recording of like, I'll be half like asleep still, but I'll I'll say whatever's in my dream.
Yeah.
But I do the same thing at night when I'm winding down. The things in my head, I'm like, if I don't jot it down,
Yeah.
it's just going to consume me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It plagues your
Yeah.
mind all
It's like
night.
when you have to go to the bathroom, like, oh, do I really have to go to the bathroom? Just get up,
You just
pee,
do it.
get back to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And don't start thinking about stuff.
No.
Yeah.
Just shut down. Stay off Instagram. Stay off the news.
Yeah.
Iran's going to be fine, because that's what I'm consumed with right now. You go in, you're like, oh my God, why am I reading the news right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, shit.
Yeah. Stay off the phone at least an hour before bed. That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
Yeah. Well, good, brother. We should wrap this up.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was great.
Part of the fun is, bringing your friends in here. We get to talk because I don't get to hang out with you that much. So I get undivided attention for a couple hours here, which is really great.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
been wonderful, actually. All
Yeah.
the different memories and stories to come up.
And many more to come.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And I can't wait till your nut butter comes out. That's going to be exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good.
All right. So I'll leave links where everybody can find the rich.nuts and how to buy. And then we'll do a little caption, especially when the nut butter comes out too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just keep posting away.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
All right.
All right.
That was
Thanks,
great.
man. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're awesome.